Dr. Gold, let's talk about the later chapters in the carcinoembryonic antigen story and maybe about your work generally in cancer.
Right. Well, it was interesting because, as I mentioned, we found that the C.E.A. was one of a family of molecules. The remarkable thing, actually, interestingly, as far as we know, C.E.A. appears in humans, in no other animal species. So there are no animal models for C.E.A. But of the earlier molecules, for example, what is now called CEACAM1, which is the earliest in evolution, found in mice, as an enormous amount of work going on knockouts and knock-ins and so on. So that's been happening. But perhaps equally important in terms of the diagnostic aspects, a lot of my colleagues have used the C.E.A. anti-C.E.A. system for imaging. So labeling anti-C.E.A. with a radio label, injecting it, and then finding smaller tumors than one could find with simple CT scanning and so on, done largely by Goldenberg in New Jersey. And now there are about a dozen studies underway, both in terms of vaccination, if you will, immunization with C.E.A., as well as using anti-C.E.A. as a homing device for molecules both cytotoxic and radiotherapeutic. So we're waiting on those studies, and they're exciting because it was not only a matter of could we diagnose, could we follow, could we predict, but now can we do something about it? So, which brings us to the concept of a marker is only a marker until it becomes a target.
Yes.
So, for example, HER2 was a marker. Now with Herceptin on board, it's a target. And it levels the field for the breast cancer patient. And we're hoping the same kind of thing will come out of the C.E.A. therapeutic area.
So C.E.A. not only has a past, but a future.
God willing.
And so some of the work in developing that future will be here in Montreal. And
Yes.
in your career, you, I think in 1978, founded the McGill Cancer Center?
That's correct. It was 1976, around that era.
Yes.
Which is probably one of the reasons we stayed on in Quebec. Because in 76, Sam Friedman, as the dean, had said he wanted to try to redevelop what had been an NCI facility at McGill, and then gone into disrepair. And so on the 7th floor of the McIntyre Sciences Center, we tore down a whole lot of walls. In fact, my wife Evelyn went over and redesigned the floor.
I thought you were going to say she tore down the walls herself. No.
She did indeed, pretty well, and then called one day and said, "You can come to work now." So we went over and began to recruit there. And the center has evolved. We started to recruit. I stayed there for about 4 years before going back to the Montreal General as the physician-in-chief. And then with time, that evolved into the Morris and Rosalind Goodman Cancer Center, with an addition of a very substantial amount of money by the Goodmans to the center. So again, it's grown. There's now a new building, which attaches to the 7th floor, which was originally the cancer center. And I sort of doodled the building for years, something that would go off-site. So it's there now. And whenever I pass, I get that very warm feeling that something positive has happened.
Do you keep your hand in cancer research, or did you have to give that up?
I basically gave it up. I think that, I never gave it up. I mean, I'm always, any idea that pops in, I call and say, what about,
Yes.
But at the end of the day, either you're in it or you're not, particularly with the speed at which cancer research is changing, with research in biology is changing across the board. So effectively, I'm happy to read the papers, to see the preprints from my colleagues, to see the new reviews that are coming out on C.E.A. and the C.E.A. family, and on other areas of cancer research. But largely, I've gotten away from the bench. Tried to mentor insofar as I can people that are interested in getting involved. And I keep telling them that the next generation has got to find the stuff we don't know about yet. And hopefully they'll take me seriously. But I'm basically out of the research laboratories and trying to build the clinical side of the activities.
Well.